Welcome to A Happy Adult. I'm so incredibly proud that you've decided to join me again today because that means you've made a commitment to becoming a happier adult. Remember, I can give you the tools, but eventually you're going to be the one that needs to use them. So, we've talked about finances and we've talked about work-life balance. Now we're going to talk about relationships. The first thing about relationships. Before you get into a long-term relationship, you need to make sure that you are aware of your childhood traumas and how those childhood traumas affect you in a relationship. You don't have to have worked out every single childhood trauma, but what you have to do is at least be aware, because otherwise you're going to end up making the same mistakes again and again and again. The other thing is you need to love yourself before you get into a relationship. You can't love somebody else until you are one whole person yourself. Don't believe any of these, oh, he's my better half, or you complete me. Any of those, you are complete. Just in yourself, you're complete. You don't need anyone to fill you up. You don't need anyone to complete you. What you want is you want a person in your life who can help you be the best version of yourself. You're already complete. You don't need to be completed. You don't need to have a relationship. You want one, or you may want one, but you want a good one. You don't want one that is not a good relationship. You want something that helps you grow. You want something that makes you a happy adult. You don't want something that makes you miserable, makes you unhappy, makes you feel unloved, goes beyond your boundaries. You don't want that. It is not worth any kind of physical release that you're getting from that. It's not worth it. So get yourself together first, then get in that relationship. So I'm going to talk today about this fantastic book. Okay, this book is called Attached. So you'll see it right here. So what it is it talks about the attachment styles that you have and how those attachment styles came from your early childhood or later childhood traumas. So I'm going to give you the brief overview of them, but again, there's so much more, and it's a fantastic book. You can get into it and really delve deeper into your own attachment style. Additionally, in the link below, you'll see a website that you can take your own attachment style quiz. And this one's pretty good because even though you put in your email on it, it'll give you the results right away. So that's a good thing. So once you have your own attachment style and you know what that is, you can also figure out the attachment style for your significant other. So because some attachment styles lend better with other attachment styles, and you'll understand when we get into that. So if you have a particular attachment style, it may work perfectly well with this one different kind, but then again, with another kind, it's going to be more difficult. So let's talk first about the secure attachment style. So the secure attachment style, those are the ones that absolutely usually rocket relationships. They generally came from fairly stable parents. They got affection when they were young. They had stability. They had all of these things which allow them to be a little bit more understanding, a little bit more, again, secure, a little bit more where they actually get it when people need emotions, and they also can give emotions freely. Now, you can have a perfectly fantastic childhood and got a lot of that and still not have a secure attachment style. For one reason or another. There might have been another trauma that happened, whatever. But that's a secure attachment style. So a secure attachment style generally will work with whatever other relationship, and it's usually okay because they have enough stability to kind of handle the other types of relationships. So then let's talk about the avoidant attachment style. So avoidants do exactly that. They avoid. They want a relationship, but once they get into that relationship, they have a tendency to be emotionally distant. They have a tendency to really want their own time, their own space, and these are the ones that will tell you, why are you so needy? Why do you need that? This is my life. Okay? Those are the avoidants. Now, as we get a little bit older and you're not in the really young stage when not that many people have coupled up, then you tend to run into more avoidance because of the fact that they avoid. So they will get into a relationship, but then they will do something to break that relationship off because it is uncomfortable. A normal, steady, secure relationship is uncomfortable for them. They're the ones that are not going to they may right away go, oh yeah, you're so fantastic, but then when you get closer, then they don't, then that's when it breaks down, because that's when they get that scared kind of mentality. So now sometimes the people that are avoidant because of the fact that they had some kind of childhood trauma where they had to break off that emotion in order to survive whatever trauma it was. So, for example, they may be from a parent that left them that from a young age. They may be from a parent who was abusive and or just emotionally distant themselves. So what that did is that then these children then learned that they, whatever that they loved was going to go away anyway, so it's better to just avoid whatever that was. So they have a difficult time within relationships. So as you get older, the people that you run into when you're dating are going to be a lot of avoidance because of the fact that they are they've been avoiding avoiding relationships for years. So let's talk about the anxious attachment. So anxious attachment, those are the ones who have the attachment style where they have a tendency to let people go over their boundaries. They have a tendency to want to be with the person a lot and spend a lot of time with them, spend a lot of physical time, get emotional, get upset if they aren't able to get feedback. So as you can see, an anxious and an avoidant in a relationship is awful for both of them. Unless they really deal with what they have, it's awful, because the anxious, it will get hurt when the avoidant needs space. The anxious will get upset and take it personally when the avoidant just needs to not connect. So anxious avoidant relationships are like, those are the absolute hardest. Any of the ones with secure can kind of, as I said, stabilize it a little bit. So anxious attachment people maybe had an abusive family member, maybe drugs or alcohol abuse in the family, because what they are doing is they are trying to make that connection, and they're generally incredibly sensitive to other people's moods. So say, for example, if you're in an anxious, have an anxious attachment and you're in a relationship and your spouse comes home and they are upset, and then they won't tell you why they're upset, or they just say, well, it was work. The anxious person will actually take that personally and think, oh no, he's not really upset from work. It must have been something that I did. Otherwise, he would tell me. He would tell me the truth. Okay, so it makes it so that anxious makes it very, very difficult. And again, with an avoidant, it's even harder. So really, it's important if you know that you're one of these attachment styles, it makes it a lot easier for you. Even if you haven't dealt with all the trauma entirely, it helps you to understand and not go into that time where it becomes personal. So say, for example, if you're an anxious attachment style and you realize, hey, I get really uncomfortable when I don't have that connection. And you could communicate with your spouse when he came home and he says, I don't, I'm just mad for work. You could communicate and say, you know what? Know that knowing that it's part of it is your reaction to it, is your emotional reaction to it, is you could say, you know what, hun, I get that, and I'm here whenever you're ready to talk about it. And you know what, if you need some time, downtime or whatever, that's fine. Maybe after dinner, you and I can spend some time together, because then it'll still fulfill your needs, but yet give them that time to know that what they need to do is okay. They don't have to share everything at that particular moment, but that you will actually want them at some point to open up and share. So again, if you're in the other person has a secure attachment style, it's not a problem, because they're like, okay, that's good. But if you're unaware of your attachment style, and then all of a sudden it's a personal thing, it just gets out of hand. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger until eventually that relationship ends, because it gets unhappier and unhappier and unhappier. Myself personally, so I found out years ago, realized that I was my attachment style was anxious attachment. So I know probably more personal standpoint than others. So some of the ways that whenever I was with a secure attachment style person, it went pretty smoothly, because whenever I did need that, they were able to go, okay, yeah, sure, we'll spend this time together. Whereas I found if I was with an avoidant, then what would happen is I would let them go over my boundaries, whatever boundary that was, and I would accept less than than a relationship that I wanted, because I liked them, wanted it to work, and then it never worked, because then I would get upset because little things would bother me because I had let them go over my boundaries. And so if I had been aware of my attachment style at the time, then I could, maybe it still wouldn't have worked, because then I would have been like, these are my boundaries, you need to stay within these boundaries. This is what I consider a relationship. But it would have ended earlier. I could have moved on, perhaps. Or it could have, then they could have gone, okay, yeah. So I don't know, ever know. But that's the thing is if you know, you can, again, talk to yourself. You can sit there and figure out where you want to go with it, and when it's attachment issues and when it's relationship issues. So when your attachment is the problem, or when the relationship itself is not working because of other circumstances. So hopefully this helped you guys. As I said, if you like and subscribe, so that I know you guys like this, and it's worth me putting my time out, because I really do want to do this for you guys. Keep in mind that I will do any kind of videos you guys want. This is for you. This is for me to help you guys. You guys, no matter what comes at you this week, you have the strength to get through it. Sending you lots of love.